Hi again, John.
Hey, how's it going, Dean?
It was good. So yesterday we did our session on, I think we only streamed on LinkedIn yesterday,
Yes.
and we did our pretty short presentation, right, where I talked about the three different stories around pricing. And I have to say that I think the first two stories about keep the lights on customer and how customers fill different roles in your business, and you should know what role they're filling, and if they don't fill it anymore, either shift them out or cycle them out. And the other topics we covered. I think those were pretty straightforward, but a lot of people followed up afterwards asking about creating or finding a halo niche and why to have it. So let's just go through that very quickly, right? So these are some of the slides from yesterday, and they talk about how to a customer, since a customer has limited information and limited interest, really, we might see various layers of people in our profession or in our business, and maybe there's like a lot on the bottom and they're not quite as skilled, or they're junior, or they specialize in sort of commodity type stuff. And then as you move up, there are fewer people on your level and so on. To a customer, it doesn't really look like this pyramid. It just kind of looks like a solid pyramid. And so the point, unfortunately, if you're in like the lower tranches, is the lower levels, is that in my profession, where I do a lot of copywriting, right, a lot of paid copywriting for clients,
Mhm.
and creating webinars and writing scripts for their live audiences and stuff. For copywriters generally, you can go to Fiverr, you can go to Upwork, and there's nothing wrong with those platforms. And especially if you're just starting out, or you're willing to put in the time or the years to build a following there, you can find people who will quote you like how many cents per word they would charge. That's about as pricey commoditization as you can get,
Yes.
in a services kind of business. And it's not just copywriting. There are lots of services type businesses, and from very small companies or freelancers or single person companies. And you can get trapped in the lower levels. And so everyone's sort of general advice is to move up, right? So everyone has like a niche and they're supposed to specialize and whatever. And it's not terrible advice. It's just that it applies to everybody. So how good can it be? And then, of course, above that, there's a halo niche. And the way we described it yesterday is a halo niche like there's a customer has a problem, and they didn't even know there was a solution to the problem. They didn't even think the problem could be solved. Maybe because they don't really understand how it could be solved. Maybe they've never met anyone in that field, and so they assume no one does it. Maybe that has a lot of moving pieces, and so they assume that no like single company or whatever could actually solve the entire thing for them, right? And the point of a halo niche is where you're the only one in it, and you solve a problem that the customer really didn't think could be fixed. And so you're having a price conversation where the only way they know what someone like you costs is to talk to you, because you're the only person they've ever known that actually solves this problem. And so to a customer, you're not at the top of a large pyramid. You're basically a small pyramid, but you're the only one in it, right? It's a complete pyramid, but you're the only person in there that operates in that space.
In fact, I was going to say, it got me thinking. Do you remember when we first met? What you said to me
I do not remember what I said to you when we first met.
when we first met? You said, "I didn't know somebody did the technology side opposite of what I do with webinars."
Oh, that is true. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
did not know that there
So
are people who specialize
I
in like behind the camera instead
there
of
you go.
front of the camera. Behind the See, that would be a halo niche. Like
That would
that's
be
a
a
problem
halo.
that people didn't even think could be fixed,
Yes.
right? So my slides are all over the place. So it's like, from competing on price, and then you get these sort of like common advice, right? Isn't it? You're supposed to go deep. You should focus. You should specialize in one type of customer, or one technology, or one market, or one type of customer, or one industry or vertical, whatever, right? And you'll get the advice to become the best at something. And none of this is bad advice. It's all good advice as you move up the value chain. The problem is it literally applies to everybody in the lower level. So you can't gain an advantage when everybody's trying to do more or less the same thing, because people are moving up the value chain every day. And something, I don't know how this is in your business, but I think it's pretty similar, right? Where at this point, I've had clients on 6 continents over the last year, specialists in all kinds of stuff, right? And as I work through helping them do their market positioning and figure out what they want to say, who they want to say it to, really make something compelling for them, Just out of curiosity, from all those people on 6 continents, and by the way, if anyone ever watches this and they know someone in Antarctica who, would need any kind of marketing help, let me know, because I would love to finish the set of continents, although I doubt I'll ever have a client in Antarctica.
Me too. I think that's
John,
the only place I've met.
question. Out
Yes.
of all 6 continents and hundreds of people, right? What
Yep.
percentage of those people do you think has a customer or is looking to get a customer in the United States?
Oh gosh, 100% of them.
100%. In
I
fact,
think they always
I'd
have
say
something.
80+% of them have at least one client in the United States,
I would say so.
right? So more than, like, I mean, everybody in every country, right? They're competing against people in their own country, and then they're competing against everyone else. But if you're in the United States, you already live in the most attractive market for most small business clients, especially service clients. And so you're not just competing with everyone in your country, which is, the largest economy in the world, but also everybody in every other country. So it's an insane level of competition. And if you just follow this advice, go deep, specialize, become the best at something, you're just following the same path that literally everyone else is trying to follow once they figure out, boy, it really sucks to get to charge based on X number of dollars per hour or X number of cents per word or whatever the lowest level commoditization pricing is, right?
Yeah.
Terrible. So what you do is you need to move into a halo niche, right? And so when you're looking for a halo niche, uh, in my experience, the only successful halo niches that actually pay so you can live off them is to tackle a revenue problem that the client has, not even a save money kind of problem, right? I don't like being on the save money side of any conversation for marketing or sales because there's always someone who'll do it cheaper. Whereas there's a lot less resistance if you can prove that you can improve someone's revenue. I didn't mean to say prove and improve in the same sentence.
That's okay.
I would never write that in a script. Right? It just came out, right? So you like to go after like bleeding from the neck revenue problems, right? So there's some problem that they have that your skill set or your small business or your medium or large business, right, can tackle for them. And that's the conversation you want to have. And the thing is, because revenue is a constant need. There's no company in the world that you're trying to sell into that doesn't have a revenue problem as far as they're concerned, right? Even if they did a little better this year than last year, the question is, why didn't we do better, a lot better? And how are we going to do better again next year, right? Revenue problems never stop, right? There's an insatiable need for growth. And so you always want to be on the revenue side of a client. And if you're in a career, you always want to be on the revenue side of your company, right? Whenever you can. And so you're looking for a revenue type problem that the client didn't think could be fixed. Now, it doesn't have to be a sales problem specifically. It can be a marketing problem as well, right? Or a productivity problem or whatever. But you're not looking to convince them that they can save money. You're looking to grow their revenue. At least in my experience and working with clients, they tend to be a lot more successful selling in on a halo niche if they can show that they've worked something out, they fixed something that will increase the client's revenue. It's an easier conversation. It's definitely easier to get a meeting if you can talk about growing revenue as opposed to just cutting costs in some way.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the ways that I've seen people work very successfully in their halo niches is to develop a lot of case studies in that niche.
Yeah.
So that people can really see what they've done for other people and see the end results, because that's what everyone wants.
What's a case story other than a case study is just a story, right?
Exactly.
And you need your stories in place to explain for whatever variety of your halo niches problem that customer might be having. You have a story ready to talk about that. So then the question, one of the questions that came in yesterday, on email after the event was, well, how do I go deeper and get into a halo niche? And here's the thing. In a lot of cases, well, there's nothing wrong with going deeper, right? I mean, there you can be alone in your halo niche, right? Alone as in you deal with one particular thing, one small thing, but this one thing, when applied, has an outsized impact on whatever it is the client's trying to do revenue wise. They're trying to build an audience. They're trying to establish themselves. They're trying to build awareness. They're trying to get more meetings. They're trying to do more demos, whatever it is that they're specifically trying to achieve. Right. And, and to be honest, that's sort of like a first right answer. I think you and I, we didn't talk about sort of first right answers and second right answers, but like everything awesome ever made in the world is somebody's second right answer, right? A first right answer is like kind of a first draft. I mean, it's a right answer, just like all that advice about how to like specialize and, get into a niche. That was all first right answer stuff. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is there's almost always, if you're willing to like think it through and push yourself, there's a second right answer. And for a while when I was helping clients, all around the world, I was still using a first right answer because I hadn't quite figured out the second right answer yet. So the first right answer was, let's pick something where you uniquely can solve a problem on the revenue side of a client, right? What particular like thing can you do? How can you get in and out, right? How do you, whatever. And then, when was this? I don't know, maybe 6-7 months ago for my own like business, I realized there's probably a second right answer here and I'm not seeing it yet because I haven't worked it out. And so I do what I always do, right? I always either take a really long walk, like for hours, or else I put on a special playlist and sit in a chair with, with a tablet and a pencil and a stylus. And I just like wait and push. And, I come up with a billion crap ideas and then one emerges. In this case, I think it was the second. I was listening to the playlist. And instead of specializing in in one particular very narrow thing where I could totally own a very small pond, it occurred to me that for a lot of the clients, even if I solve that problem, and by the way, if you think you figured out a Halo niche and you're trying to like convince people to talk to you and get into a meeting and let them show you what you can do and stuff, and they're really not interested, or rather they don't see the point, it's usually because there are enough other problems around it, or it's part of a larger set of problems where even fixing your thing doesn't fix anything else and doesn't actually, get them where they want to go to like from their negative present to their positive future. So on the webinar side of the business, right, I used to specialize in just writing the scripts and sometimes helping them make slides for B2B webinars, and growing their audience through that. Because, webinars done right, fully scripted and practiced, like that can be super powerful, soft sales messages instead of just one-to-many marketing messages. But it turns out for most of the customers that I was talking to, it didn't fix their main problem. And their main problem, they never expressed this, by the way. I just had with enough failure, you figure stuff out. Their main problem was a webinar, like a B2B webinar, a prestige kind of webinar, has a lot of moving pieces. And just getting a script done, a great script even for a webinar for that presenter, even helping them like rehearse stuff, it doesn't fix all of the other problems. And for the clients that I'm talking to, they don't have people on staff that can handle all of the other problems. So it turns out instead of going narrow, it became comprehensive. And that's what really kicked in, the interest. Because now, it happens that I had the skill set that I needed. I will eventually have people helping me with various parts of this because I can't do everything forever, right? But everything from writing the initial, like setting up their email in MailChimp or whatever that they're using, like writing and creating the email and cleaning up their mailing list, writing the email to like announce the webinar and get people, writing the copy and creating the registration page, dealing with the back end database stuff. The script, the rehearsal, helping with the slides, helping with the structure and the flow, operating the webinar software, subscribing to the webinar service, because for them, that's a whole big deal of getting that done, and there's procurement and legal and all kinds of stuff. Whereas if they just use someone else's, it's fine, no one cares, right? Then the follow-up email sequences, the any transcriptions, some video editing, follow-up emails after that, so to like provide links and stuff to the webinar that just ended and sort of sell the registration for the next one they're going to do and all that stuff, right? So now instead of just doing the little piece in the middle, I think I did it spectacularly, but maybe not. But still, that fixing that piece didn't fix their problem, right? And so they had a webinar problem that they didn't even know could be fixed, or that there was someone who does it. But now there's a company, right? My company in this case, that actually does the entire thing. Now they can own any part of it that they want, right? If they want to own the graphics and stuff, that's fine. If they want to own publishing the video out onto a YouTube channel or something, that's fine. I don't do that. I don't have to do that. It's fine, right? They usually have a lot of those mechanisms already in place. And so a halo niche doesn't have to be a very, very narrow specialization. It can be an A to Z comprehensive thing. The main point is it fixes a revenue type problem that the customer didn't think could be fixed, had never thought about the fact that one person or one company could fix it for them, and did not even know that there were such people around. That's a halo niche. That's living in the one place. And so I hope that answers the questions that people sent in after the fact. Tell me, John, what do you think?
I think it definitely answers a lot of the questions. And the one thing that I think is also huge to this is knowing who to collaborate in another halo niche. Like you and I both have opposing halo niches that go nicely together, and so that's the thing that kind of brought you and I together.
Yeah, on the February, the March one's coming up on the 15th of March, but on the February 15th LinkedIn live session for This Audience Means Business, the one that that Heather comes on and a co-host, we always have a guest, and to talk about collaboration and stuff and go on your point. It actually took a while to drill down into what she was doing as far as like trying to network and build her audience. Her name is Angie Flynn McIver. Really interesting. Also fellow North Carolina resident like me.
Cool.
And lives over in Asheville. And she doesn't try to build her audience online by talking to people who might be, or even trying to find people who might be her clients now or in the future. Like, it's not a thing, right? Instead, she specifically focuses on making connections and starting conversations with companies that would have her clients, but she hasn't met that client yet. In other words, her service and their service would be adjacent, but they don't know about her yet. So in a way, she's sort of in her own sort of halo niche, right? And so like when they know about her, then they can refer her. So her business is 100% referral based, but not because clients refer other people to her, but because she's focused on meeting other service providers who are already in a commercial relationship with those customers. She teaches, she helps people with sort of communications, presentations, like the most important presentation you ever need to give you a board, like she helps that kind of stuff, right? And so executive coaches, strategy coaches, all that kind of stuff, all of those people, those are the ones that she's targeting and getting close to and seeing how she can help. So her whole business marketing philosophy and really sales philosophy is based on finding adjacent businesses and becoming adjacent to them. I thought it was very clever once I figured out what she was doing.
I do a lot of things that are similar to that. One of my best collaborations is with a friend of mine who works in software. He does a lot of work with software, AI software for social media.
Okay.
And then trying to bring in the video part so that you can post video on social media is one of the things we're helping him with. So, yeah, those collaborations are huge.
Yeah, I got to get better at that. All right. We said we'd keep this one super short.
And we did.
Anything else from you before we all sign off here?
No, this has been awesome. Thanks again for having me on.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Hopefully, I think we have one more we want to do tomorrow, and so on a different topic. So maybe I'll see you then.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.